big and small, strong and weak, ugly and shifty, beautiful and sleek. They hop, they jump, they slither and slide, come out in the open and they run and hide. It takes all kinds to live in Bug City. Some are weird and some are pretty. Come on down, let's meet in Bug City. Don't let them bug you. There's nothing to be afraid of. Bugs can be fun. We're all friends here. So come on down, let's meet in Bug City with Christina Ricci, Dr. Art.
And don't forget me, Bugsy Seagull.
You're going to be treated to an especially beautiful show today on Bug City. We're going to take you far away from the city to a magical environment where... Excuse me. I'm trying to introduce today's bugs.
Go ahead. You're doing a fabulous job.
The unusual creatures you will see today have names like nymph and naiad, whirligig. What are you eating?
Oh, something that looks a little like pork rinds here. Then there are some colored flakes that are kind of shrimpy tasting. They're very good. Then I got these down there.
Does that bag say Bugsy Seagull on it anywhere?
You know, I didn't see it. I guess somebody forgot. Yeah.
Because that food, Bugsy, is for some special visitors we're going to be having here with us today. So, please put...
No, I mean, I'm a special visitor. I mean, geez.
Put the bag down and keep your hand, wing, out of it.
What's going on out here?
There you are, Dr. Art. Dr. Art Evans, our entomologist, Bug City's own insect expert. I was just about to reveal to our audience that while most of today's insects will look like ordinary insects, they're actually quite extraordinary.
And there's a gorgeous example, the dragonfly, considered by many to be the most beautiful of all insects. A perfect welcome to the marvelous world of aquatic insects. An aquatic environment, the environment of this pond, for example, is a little world unto itself. There are insects that inhabit the air just above the water. There are other insects living down in the water. And then there is another whole group who exists on the pond's surface. This insect, called a water strider, can literally walk on water. Instead of swimming in the pond, it skates across the surface. This insect, the water measurer, also stilts across the surface. These busy pond bugs are whirligig beetles. They are half underwater and half surface dwellers. In fact, they have split eyes that see in the air and underwater at the same time. The ripples made by the whirligig beetles are important to their existence. The ripples are read by fellow whirligigs to determine exactly where the others are and what they are doing. All the surface-dwelling creatures of the pond rely upon ripples for communication and for detection of food. This water strider is putting out a signal to warn other insects that they are entering his territory. But the water strider, by making ripples, also makes itself vulnerable. This spider carefully places its delicate feet on the surface. They are so acutely sensitive to any disturbance that the spider can pick up the presence of a water strider, its next meal, at a considerable distance. In the world of the pond, a simple rain shower can be a terrible disaster. To aquatic insects, small droplets are huge water meteorites from which there is no escape. Insects cling to rocks and plant stalks in an attempt to survive, but some don't make it. When the storm is past, water striders will appear, propelling themselves on swift, padded feet to devour any insect which has fallen victim in the pond. Water striders are the janitors of the aquatic world, removing dead bodies and helping to keep the pond clean, clear, and naturally in balance.
Do these water striders just have to wait for something to fall into the pond before they eat? I mean, what if nothing falls in?
No, don't worry. They have favorite foods that grow right there in the pond. In fact, one of their very favorite foods, you'll be glad to know, is the larvae of mosquitoes, which make their home underwater in the countless millions.
All right, I want them as pets. Where can I buy some?
They're everywhere there's slow-moving water, at least in the summer. You should go and observe them when you get a chance. They are fascinating. Actually, I've got some live water striders off stage. Give me a minute, I'll show you what I mean.
Okay, I love surprises. Bugsy Seagull, what on earth?
Wow, that's just it. There isn't gonna be any Earth around here pretty soon.
I'm sorry?
You see, I got a phobia about water. I can't be around water. It's a fear of drowning.
Wait, you're a seagull. Sea, in the ocean, lots of water.
Oh, no. No, Christina, seagull is just an expression. You see, my family's been living in Jersey City for generations. Hey, quite frankly, the closest we get to the ocean is Coney Island for hot dogs. Relish, please. No mustard, no ketchup.
Bugsy, we're not going to anything like the ocean.
Better safe than sorry, I guess.
Here you go, in person, creatures that literally walk on water.
Hey, look at the outfit.
Okay, we're going to look at these guys and figure out how they do it. This is a water strider, and they are absolutely dependent upon surface tension. Surface tension creates like a membrane across the surface of the water, and these guys are able to walk right across that membrane. They have unwettable hairs on their body that prevent them from sinking, and their legs are spread out wide to distribute their weight so they don't poke through. And that way they can skate across the water. We can take a little bit of soapy water and spray it into this pan here, and that will break or reduce the surface tension. This would happen in nature if the water were polluted. Let's add a water strider and see how easily it swims. Notice how its legs, see how it's having difficulty in swimming? In fact, it's sinking. The reason this has happened, again, is because the soap has reduced the water tension that the water strider depends on to walk across the surface. But don't worry, we'll save the water strider. We're going to carefully take this creature out. He's all right. And we're going to hose him down with some fresh water, and we'll put him in here. He's fine.
The water strider literally reads pond ripples for every occasion. Here, it uses the signals to find a mate. During mating, the male rides atop the female's back for long periods of time. In fact, the male will stay with the female until she is ready to lay her eggs. This is the one time when the water strider needs to break through the pond's surface tension and submerge. With air molecules buoying her up, this is not an easy task. Finally, she is able to lay her clutch of eggs. After a week or so, the eggs begin to darken. Eventually, larvae will hatch and immediately begin struggling their way to the surface.
Dr. Art, why have these creatures chosen to spend their lives in the water?
In the beginning, they went to the water for the same reasons that pioneers went west to unoccupied places. There was less competition for food and living space. It was a rich frontier for those insects who were able to adapt.
One of the most amazing examples of an air-breathing animal that has adapted to living underwater is this spider. At the pond's surface, she captures a bubble of air. then drags it below to her lair, which is a silken umbrella she has woven among several plants. Here, she releases the air bubble, joining it to others she has collected, until she has created one large air bubble. This becomes a roomy, watertight living chamber in which she can rest, feed, lay her eggs, and rear her young.
Let me show you an amazing world that very few people have seen. Air-breathing animals comfortably living underwater.
Wow.
What's in this tank?
Well, Christina, those are back swimmers, and they live up to their name because they swim on their backs, and they hold their back legs out like oars, and that's how they swim through the water. Now, these animals are true bugs. That means they have piercing, sucking mouth parts, and they use those mouth parts to catch and kill and suck out the juices of insects that happen to fall into the water.
Wow.
And what are these guys?
These are giant water bugs, which are also true bugs. And these guys are big and powerful enough that they can catch small fish and even tadpoles. And what's interesting about these animals is that the males carry the eggs. The females will lay the eggs on his back, and he carries them till they hatch.
So the eggs are what's on his back right there?
That's what's on his back right there.
Oh.
Poor guy.
And what about the last tank?
Well, these are also true bugs with piercing, sucking mouth parts. These are water scorpions, and they're excellent at camouflage because they'll sit very quietly at the edge of a pond or a stream in the grass and the reeds, sitting motionless, almost like an aquatic walking stick. And if you'll notice, they have a tube running out their back. That's how they breathe, just like a snorkel.
Oh. Hey, that's something.
There's still another level in the world of the pond with the strangest looking creatures of all. Many underwater dwellers are the larval or immature stages of animals that will grow up to look very different.
These little aquatic aliens will, believe it or not, soon be flying mosquitoes. Meanwhile, there are air-breathing larvae who live underwater. They hang head down, breathing through a single abdominal tube connected to the surface. If threatened, they close up the breathing tube and head for the bottom, out of danger. This is the larva of the water beetle, which also looks nothing like its adult form, and which also keeps a breathing tube connected to the surface while it feeds. The larva of this damselfly, however, is another kind of creature altogether. It is a true underwater animal. Like a fish, it extracts oxygen from the water through gills. But unlike any other animal, the gills are leaf-shaped appendages on the abdomen.
I have a fun little quiz, a guessing game for the two of you. Look at these pictures of aquatic insects and see if you can guess which of them is a baby picture of the dragonfly. Do you think it's number 1? This strange creature, do you think this grew into the dragonfly? How about number 3? And here's number 4. Could this possibly be it?
No, it's that one. No question. It's gotta be that one.
Bugsy, you've had your chance to guess. Christina, which one do you think is the baby dragonfly?
My guess is number 3.
Christina, you're right. It is number 3.
But Christina, I was supposed to be the star of this show. Hey, come on.
Since larvae live underwater until they hatch, they're hard to observe. But if you follow this simple pencil alert, you can be a spectator to their hidden lives. We're going to build an underwater scope, and we're going to do this with a quart juice can with both the top and the bottom cut out. We cut out a piece of plastic wrap and tightly stretch it over the top of the lid, like so. And then we'll take a rubber band and put it across. And this is going to be the window to your water world. Now, once the plastic is in place, then we'll take our packing tape. Remember, we want to use plastic because this is going underwater. And we'll tightly put the packing tape around the side, like so. And then carefully, with a pair of scissors, cut the tape. And your underwater scope is ready for use. Let's see what we can find.
The so-called dragonfly is neither a dragon, of course, nor a fly, but is unquestionably one of the wonders of the natural world. Watch what it can do.
Believe it or not, this dragonfly larva has lived underwater for as long as 9 years. Now, it climbs out, fastens itself to a rock, and begins to undergo its final transformation, one of nature's most spectacular events. The dragonfly is splitting out of its old, muddy-looking larval skin. The struggle you are watching may take several hours to accomplish. The new, delicate wings slowly unfold as the veins fill with fluid. Then suddenly, the dragonfly takes flight, leaving behind its past in the form of an empty husk on the rock. The dragonfly is a true insect, which means it has 6 legs, plus 2 antennae, and 3 distinct body parts: the abdomen, the thorax, from which its amazing wings grow, and the head. Most of a dragonfly's head is taken up by 2 incredible tools. These huge compound eyes contain 29,000 individual lenses each, far more than any other animal's eyes. The dragonfly can literally watch what's behind it at the same time it's looking ahead. The dragonfly is also the most incredible of flyers. It hunts and eats its prey on the wing. It even courts and mates while in the air. Like the dragonfly, this damselfly has a wing motion unique among insects. In film slowed down 120 times, you can see that each pair of wings moves independently, like oars move in water. Humans have never achieved anything close to this kind of flying technology.
You can enjoy aquatic insects at home simply by purchasing a 10-gallon aquarium. You can also pick up a kit to help filter out the waste products produced by your aquatic animals. They're very easy to put together, but it's better if you have a parent or a teacher give you a hand. This is part of the undergravel filter right here, and all you have to do is take this piece right here and place it inside. There's a charcoal filter here that sorts out the waste products, and you'll have the air stone down here. That's where the bubbles are going to come out. You simply place this inside the aquarium, like so. This little piece of equipment here is called a gang valve. You just hang it on the edge and attach your hoses, and you're all set. The next step is to add your gravel. Remember, this filter only works if there's gravel. And you just carefully pour your aquarium gravel inside and spread it around. Add a few larger rocks and place them inside. Remember, your animals, whatever you collect, will want a place to hide or a place to rest. So it's important to have things that they can do just that. Here are some plastic plants that we're going to use, and we'll add those just after we put in the water. The best kind of water to use is distilled water, because then you won't get those nasty deposits, and with distilled water, your aquarium is much easier to keep clean. Now, when your aquarium is about half full, this is a good time to rearrange the rocks so the filter is completely covered. And this is a good time to put your plants in, too. And you want to make sure that the bases of the plants are covered by the gravel. Then we'll fill it up to the top. Okay, we take a look inside and we make sure that the undergravel filter is covered. We make sure that our plants are carefully anchored, and it looks like we're ready to go. All we have to do now is plug in the hose to our pump. Now remember, anytime you're working on water and electricity, be very careful. Make sure that your hands are dry and make sure the pump is not plugged in until you're all dried off. Once you've done that, it's time to turn the pump on. All right, and now we're going to introduce our animals. These are some predatory diving beetles that we just collected. And there they go. And notice how smooth and sleek their bodies are. They're perfectly designed for living in the aquatic environment. Aquatic insects are really easy to collect, but always go out with an adult or a parent to help you because you're going to be working around water. Now, the best place to find aquatic insects is around ponds or slow-moving streams. That's where you'll find the most insects that are easy to collect. And you'll need a few simple tools. An aquarium net works really well for scraping around the edges of ponds or around the bases of plants. You might also want to turn over rocks and see what might be clinging underneath. If you want a larger net, a strainer works really well. You can simply take leaves and branches and scoop them out of the water and place them inside and then carefully sort through the material, picking out aquatic insects. If you have a light-colored tray like this, you can also take handfuls of leaves and other debris and put it in here, and it's real easy to see the insects as they start moving, and then you can pick them out. Might be a good idea, too, to have a bucket with you to put in a little water for transporting your animals. Now, this might seem strange, but you have to be careful that you don't drown your aquatic insects. So whenever I transport aquatic insects, I don't carry them in water. I put them in moist paper toweling or some moist moss. Many aquatic insects have to come up to the surface in order to breathe. And if they can't get up to the surface with water sloshing around, they'll drown. Take some moist paper toweling or some moist, cool moss and place your animals inside. As long as they're only going to be in there for about an hour or so, they'll be fine. But remember, once again, it's important to keep them cool. They won't stand direct sunlight or any kind of increase in temperature. And then you'll have your animals ready to go to set up in their new home.
Now it's time for factualities.
This time about dragonflies. Did you know that dragonfly fossils, you know, the ones they find in rocks, have wingspans measuring 30 inches across? That means that they were the largest insects that ever lived. Dragonflies can fly at speeds approximately 35 miles an hour. Wow. And some dragonflies may take 9 years to reach maturity. And did you know also that dragonflies may eat thousands of mosquitoes and flies, but they never bite humans, so you don't have to be so scared. Hey, a giant water bug, it can stay underwater for 10 whole minutes. Wow, and those folks are the factualities.
Thanks for visiting us in Bug City.
Hey, can you believe they chose to live in water? Good morning.